This is Johnny. Johnny, this is Bob, commander of the Bob Squad, and one of my favorite human beings.
Oh, thanks so much.
So very excited to have you here.
Me too. So,
just to go ahead and do our little intro here.
Yeah, do your thing.
I'm Haleigh.
And I'm Johnny.
And that's Bob of the Bob Squad. And this is Jonny, Haleigh, Bob, Day of Fun. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you for joining us in the sunglasses wearing. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
So Bob Squad, commander of the Bob Squad, stand-up comedian, professional wrestler for a time. So much to unpack here.
Oh wow.
Indeed. Super excited about. So let's get started then. Where did you start? Now I know you've had. I will try not to give you any PTSD by mentioning the times in life when you have had to do the 9 to 5. You know, John and I are still doing that.
No, I still am.
These
are very dark, and I feel very disconnected.
You're fine. No, they're good up top here.
You're okay.
Yeah, just because I feel like I'm just like over the I'm making too much of a wall.
You just came in from outside skiing, right? You're at the ski lodge, right? That's what we're gonna go ahead and there we go.
These are like I just got done bullying a kid who works at the ski lodge, and he takes my girlfriend by defeating me in a race at the end of the film type of sunglasses.
I think that is absolutely correct. That is a whole look right there. I love it.
I can dig it. I'm sorry. What was the question? What were we talking about?
Just how you got started. Because you did like the wrestling stuff before the stand-up that I know and love you for.
Oh gosh. I was I was a pro wrestler in the early 2000s in Pennsylvania, Maryland, trained by WWE Hall of Famer Off of the Wild Samoan. I always get a kick out of saying that. It was just one of those things. When you're a youth, certain things grab you. And
when you're a youth, yes,
certain things you get obsessed with. For me, I was 9 years old in my grandparents' Brooklyn apartment, and I was playing with the green shag carpet, and I looked at an ottoman. My grandpa had his feet up on the ottoman, and it turned out he only had 9 toes. This is related. And
okay, we'll trust you. We're going with it.
I'm counting the toes and going, something's wrong. And then I see my mother from a distance in the dining room can see me doing the math in my 9-year-old brain, and then I'm about to say something. So she gives me one of those looks. Remember when kids, like, we didn't talk so much, there were rules. So she'd look at
you had to not mention things just by if you got the right kind of eye contact, you better shut your face. That kind of thing.
It was these kind of times. So I remember her giving me the Iggy, as they say, and I go, I guess I'm not bringing up the toes. So I look and I decided, okay, whatever's on TV, I'm watching this. This is getting all my attention, and naturally, it was pro wrestling.
No.
How fantastic! I love it, and you don't get to ask about the 9 toes, but you get to go into an industry where you might lose a toe, right? Doing some wild, crazy things.
Yeah, I got banged up pretty good. I'm 43. I'm doing better. I got no knees and no neck. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I got amazing elbows. The elbows are outstanding right now. I got great elbows joints, and
but you can use those when you're doing stand up, right? Like you need those elbows for holding up the mic and making sure that you got all of your. I do love, by the way, the karate kicks and your fun little in your comedy.
Thanks.
All of the physicality I do very much enjoy.
No, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm trying to do something else. I was in New York City for about 8 years, and it's cool. Like everybody's doing stories and messages. This is my message, my story, my message. And I was a Rodney Dangerfield kid before my mother canceled HBO back in the day. And I just like. To me, stand-up was just something that, that's the thing Rodney Dangerfield does. I didn't realize there were other dudes doing that and women at the time. It's like, that's the thing he does. And so I always loved that second just to wrestling. After the wrestling kind of fizzled out and I thought I was done, I was in San Diego and said, hey, you know what? Let's try this, and I could do the talky part of wrestling without the wrestling part.
The talky part of I like it, and make it just as wild and fun, right?
Well, if you screw up in comedy, generally no one kicks you in the head if you make a mistake.
Yeah, true.
Your percentage is pretty high if not getting kicked in the head.
Not gonna get hit with a chair, right? Not gonna
Not
have
much.
to. Not
Yeah.
Only occasionally if you tell a real bad joke, right?
Right.
To this day, at the end of some shows, when people are putting away folding chairs, I get the shivers a little bit. Like, so just keep those over there. I've had my day in the sun there. I started
I've
wrestling
seen enough
again.
of those up close.
You
Yeah,
started again.
yeah, I wrestled again in San Diego, unbeknownst to me. My buddy Zoltan, who's Zoltan Kazas, who is headlining across the country. We started together in 06 in the in San Diego. So usually when you see me around, oh, Bob's in Austin, Bob's in Myrtle Beach. Well, Bob's following Zoltan. Bob's not supposed
Okay.
Hey, that's all right. You got, it's better with friends when you're out on the road, I'm sure. So like rock and roll, right?
Yeah.
And I am
we don't stop.
somewhat familiar with Zoltan from Haleigh's told me about him a little bit. And I watch
Yeah,
a little bit of
love
his
Zoltan.
comedy.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's tremendous. We were just yapping because I was just watching his podcast right before this, and we were texting on our mobile devices. They works with satellites. It's complicated. I don't have time to explain all of it.
That's all right. We can't get into the details of that science stuff on this one. That's
Right.
That's not day of fun material.
No, it's not. But
like
a good time.
When it came to comedy for me, I was kind of a late bloomer with comedy. I liked comedy a little bit, but I didn't seek it out as much. Like when I was about 21, I started listening to more and more podcasts. So it just led me to this guy and stand up. Some people I like their comedy more than their stand up. Sometimes, stand up more than their, or their podcasting and their stand up is very different. But yeah, I always found that interesting that there's a lot more people getting into comedy through podcasts nowadays. So do you feel like, is that helping a lot more, or has it always just kind of been the thing to do? Because are you somewhat new in comedy?
No, not new. I mean, I've been at it 17 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I like to move away from a city as soon as things start popping.
Okay.
That's my plan. Usually
that's kind of how you roll. Okay.
That's how I do it. I always say wrestling and comedy. If it made money in the 80s, I'm chasing that in the
2000s.
Yeah. There's a lot of platforms available now though. And like the podcast stuff, I do think it does give another outlet for you to, get your personality out there and that kind of thing.
I should start a podcast.
You come join us all the time. We'll talk wrestling, we'll talk 80s, and we will talk, I know Johnny over there could chat you up about like He-Man and all that crazy stuff.
Well, not so much He-Man, but all that like early 90s to late 80s kind of stuff. Or
Johnny,
stuff.
Do you do stand-up? Or
I do not do stand-up. There was a time where I was going to try it, and I wrote some jokes, and they were horrible. But
see, we've decided to go the podcast route. We've decided to like start here because we both have those little like, stand-up comedy would be cool, would be fun. Here's my thing though, and talk to us a little bit about this because the crowd work situation, you're getting immediate feedback on what you're trying out, right? Whereas with podcasts, obviously I get to edit this later, right? And if I say something completely wrong or whatever, I can get rid of it and nobody is the wiser. In comedy, you do not have that luxury. You're right there in front of the audience and getting feedback in real time,
Well, I think that's what I always liked about it because it still reminded me of wrestling. Because you got one take. It's why it's not a monologue like in Shakespeare. Or even with wrestling, you're not filming an action scene. You got one take. You got a live audience, instant feedback, blank canvas. Generally, you know how long you should be doing your segment of whatever the show is, and you pretty much usually you know how you're starting, you know how you're ending, and you're gonna have a plan and probably change it as time goes on. It's almost the exact same thing, except obviously the physicalities. And in wrestling, you have a dance partner, whereas comedy, generally speaking, it's just you and yada yada. So it was almost the same thing, except it wasn't gonna hurt. I think something that definitely changed. I think with podcasting in the last decade and a half, that something podcasting changed stand up in would be I think it changed everyone's stand-up style. Like the style on stage is so conversational. Um, and
I
I
kind
love
of
it.
I kind of dig it that way though. There's
Yeah.
something about it that makes it more approachable and relatable, I think, and I do I do love that, your comedy and like Zoltan and others that I really enjoy,
Well, I don't know if I really count. I think if anything, he's way more storytelling and conversational. I'm a little more back into the jokey jokes and
it
the
is, but in the
fashion
sense of
sizzle.
it's still I feel like there's a lot of your authentic personality in what you do.
Yeah,
Right.
if you
And
hang
I
Yeah,
out with
very
me, you go,
much.
oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I think is really great is that, I do love that about podcasts too, and that you can kind of get so much of, you watch someone on stage, right?
Yeah.
And you can think, well, that's not who they are. But then you see them on podcasts and thing, and you're like, oh no, that's who they are. And and I dig that.
Yep.
Like I appreciate the authenticity. I really do.
For sure.
You just turn them. It's like they used to say in wrestling, it's just you. You just turn the volume up to 11, Daddy. That's all it is.
Pretty much.
It's
Just
great.
crank it. You just crank it. I can't run around all day throwing kicks and jumping around and everything. It's exhausting. It's
Yeah.
always funny afterwards if someone wants a picture, like, can we do a kick? I'm like, and I always say, yeah, of course. But in the back of my head, I'm like, no, the muscles are cold now. I've cooled down. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
it's like
can't
you
do
just
this
worked
all
out
night.
40 minutes ago and you can't be like, no, I can't lift any more
Yep.
weights. I just did.
You got to start saying no. Actually, for the selfies, I do yoga poses now so that I can do my like stretching after the workout. Just start
There you go.
shifting it over, right? Everybody's got to do
Yeah.
tree pose for this one. Make
Yeah.
make them all pose with you. That
Make
would be
them
fun.
That's what you want drunk people on one foot for as long as possible. I can't imagine what could go wrong.
I can't imagine. You know what? You would end up with some great stories. So
For sure.
there is that. Ask them to help you out with material. Like, hey, go ahead and stand on one foot for just a hot second for this one. We'll see how this turns out.
That's all.
I dig it.
But like back, I mean, I've tried looking at comedy, and I was gonna do it in Fargo at the time. There really wasn't an outlet for you to like go to an open mic and stuff like that. They just weren't around.
Yeah.
You would have to make them. You know what I mean? You would have to open them a night. And when I was a kid, I liked comedy, but I was more that shy kid that played music. You know what I mean? I was
going to ask if
relatively.
you were a musician.
I
had
am
a
a
funny
musician.
feeling.
Yep.
There you go.
So
your psychic intuition is correct, Commander of the Bob
we
Squad.
all
Bob's
get lit
intuition.
to the stage,
I
but we
like
do
it.
different things. But yeah, that's kind of where my avenue went. I do love stand up, and like, of course, I think a lot of people would love to do stand up if they could, but it just wasn't in the cards for me at the time.
Yeah.
There was no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Snuck up on
I
me.
did it.
Yeah.
It snuck up on you. Comedy snuck up on you.
I don't even remember what I was doing. I think it was in like '06. I was just about to quit working for an internet marketing company to work for a phone book publisher. I'm not kidding. Again, it was awesome.
That is.
I'm always on the wrong side of history.
That's job security right there.
That's on brand for you, is what it is. That's what you.
Yeah, I know.
It's on
it wasn't.
brand.
They all sold and tried to move from San Diego to King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and we had the option of taking like a mini chunk of change versus moving to King of Prussia, Pennsylvania from San Diego. And I'm going to stay here, Cali, and blah, 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 blah. But that'll teach me a lesson. I forget what was happening. I don't know. Someone said there was an open mic at one of my I guess my home club, Comedy Store La Jolla, and I'm 6 Pearl Street, don't park at Bonds.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess all the rest was history. I was a door guy there for a bit, 8 years in New York, moved back here to San Diego, and whatever, telling jokes. Yeah, I got sick in New York. I had a great 6 of 8 years, I would say.
I've been to New York, and no offense to New York, but no, thank you. Sorry.
The paradox of New York City is that a bathroom is nowhere and everywhere at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not a real great situation in that sense, is it?
No, it's all depending on your own point of view. It's November right now, so right now in New York City is this is the time of the year where your landlord decides if you're cold.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, guess what? You're not. You're fine.
That is no, thank you. I will go ahead and I'll keep my Dakota, not
you
so.
folks are both in the Dakotas, so North Dakota that borders Canada, does it not?
Yep. Yeah. It gets real cold there. Really cold.
That's gotta be absolutely bananas. I grew up in the burbs in New York, just above the city. So I've actually gone from New York to San Diego to New York to San Diego. So I mean, but I wasn't even in upstate New York. I was just like an hour above the city. It wasn't like winter. We had our seasons. It was.
We live where you have to have snow. It's a lot of snow, and you need to have 2 batteries in your car in the winter because the -60 wind chill will like freeze your stuff.
And that's in South Dakota too.
It's not as bad where I'm at.
North Dakota.
I would imagine.
I just would like very much to move to somewhere like San Diego. So putting that out into the universe, if you can send any Bob Squad magical energy, like let's make it so, and we can go like hang out. And I would love to see you in person at the Comedy Store. It would be great.
Oh yeah.
But in North Dakota, it gets, a ton of snow, and then you're looking at about 40 below zero.
Is that even a real temperature? Or can you do that?
Yeah. Oh, it's very real.
How can you do that?
It's a real temperature where you go outside and your eyelashes will freeze.
Basically, you run to your car, you start it, and then you run back in for 20 minutes.
And
a heat wave right now.
Yeah, it's
80 degrees today.
Global warming has not quite made it to us yet. Where y'all are on fire over there in California.
Around this time of year, actually, yes, we are. Half the county burns down, and sometimes the ground moves. It's a whole thing. But when you visit,
don't worry about it. The ground is shifting, things are on fire, but we're gonna tell jokes because that's what we do.
That's all we know. Right, Odie? No, he knows how to get his belly rubbed right now. But here's the thing about visiting San Diego is that you visit San Diego, and I've heard it a million times. People, they visit here for 2 weeks. They're seeing a cousin or whatever it is they're doing. And then they say, this place is great. And 3 months later, you remember them from some party, some get together, and they go, yeah, I moved here.
I love it.
Heads up. So visit. And,
that's all I have to do is just like, hey, Bob, put me up for a night, and then I'll just move to San Diego. It'll be great.
That's the plan. It'll hook you. It gets in your blood. It just, your blood warms and thins, and then you realize, oh my God, why is the rest of that? Like, yes, I know it's expensive, but and that sucks. But why is the rest of the country living like this? I don't know what's wrong with everyone.
That's why it's cheap to live here, because it gets 40 below zero.
Yeah,
that paces people out.
Cost of living is lower.
I should buy a house there. I think I could do that.
You can.
You could buy.
How many hundreds of dollars?
How many hundreds of dollars?
You can buy a pretty decent house in Fargo right now for probably $300,000.
Oh, not even. Where I'm at, the house I'm in is under $200,000. So you can have a whole house. I have a yard. It's really cool.
You have a yard?
I have a yard.
Let me tell you, GI Joes in there.
I could. I don't have GI Joes, but I did have a life-size Batman once upon a time. I know. That's what I need to be filling my yard with, is like just toys and ridiculousness.
Which version of Batman did you have that was it a statue or cardboard? What happened with this?
It was Michael Keaton's Batman, and that's why I had bought it, because that's my favorite Batman. That's my tat right here.
That's my favorite Batman.
Because he's the best Batman. Like, we can agree on this.
You know how many times I've been in New York, I would look myself in the mirror because I know who to talk to. And I would look in the mirror before I go to work, and I go, sometimes I don't know what to make of leaving. But right now, I got to go to work. Then I would just literally go to work. Like he told Kim Basinger in the cave when Alfred let her in for no reason.
Yes, absolutely. Well, no, because she's Kim Basinger and she's hot. You got to let her in.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And she'd already spent the night. Alfred's like, all right, let's get this rolling. Come on.
He's been in here. He didn't let Knox or Robert Wool into the Batcave for no reason. I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Alfred's just trying to be helpful, right? Like, that's his whole job.
He's a great wingman, Alfred. He didn't get enough credit for that.
I think that is absolutely true. I mean,
I'm rethinking that whole scene. That scene, I used to be one of those people that was bothered by that scene. Now I'm rethinking the whole thing. I'm like,
no, Alfred.
The best Alfred.
Alfred knows what's up. Alfred's like, dude, you spend way too much time hanging out in this cave. You need a woman in your life. Like,
right.
get this figured out, dude.
Like, how do you have $1 billion house and no windows in the one room you hang out in? What's wrong with you, dude?
Yeah, like, see, Alfred's looking out for him.
Alfred always looked out for him. That was the key to that relationship.
Is you know what? Universe, send me billions of dollars so that I can have my equivalent of an Alfred who will, like, let the hot ones in to hang out with. Oh yeah, hey, sure, cool.
He had billions of dollars, that Bruce Wayne, and his butler's last name was Pennyworth. How about that?
Huh. I mean,
that means something. I don't know what.
We would have to ask the creators of the Batman comic originally, but I do,
Everyone's dead.
I know. Well, listen, we could get out the Ouija board. It might take a while for them to spell out everything and to separate the letters out correctly. But
I love a good Ouija board. It has like the bread and the salted meats and the cheese. Is that what that is? The wine?
Exactly what it is.
That sounds like just like you just put together two of my very favorite things in one thing. I think that's fabulous. Like, please, someone make me a charcuterie board, Ouija board situation. Put it
charcuterie, yeah.
Like, and why have you not started this franchise, Bob Squad?
The charcuterie Ouija boards.
Yeah,
I need to summon the dead and also have a taste of this pastrami.
Yes, right. You make spooky Ouija board charcuterie boards. Like, that would pop off like hell in San Diego. Come on, I'm saying.
What am I not doing right? I don't know. I make terrible decisions.
This is the one thing where you have to get on it now, right? Okay. Like, start the train, the spooky charcuterie boards, Bob Squad.
It needs a cool name. I'll think of something later.
Instead of a human sacrifice, it's just a brie with a butter knife.
Yes. The butter knife does have to be stabbed into somewhere. Or the cheese knife. Sure there's a different knife. I don't know. Some cheese I can't pronounce.
There's a bunch of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Hands. I'm making a shadow.
Give me the blue one.
Give me that's right. I love it. I think this is a great idea. I think we do need to move to San Diego and open up a shop. Come up with like a really fun, cool name.
It would, yeah. The Ouija board, charcuterie board would be a fascinating thing to see. I think
it would be. We would have our own. We're opening a comedy club. Bob, be with us on this.
Oh God, let me not do that.
Just what? Joe Rogan all of a sudden.
What? Do all the... No, come on. It would be great. You don't want to do your own comedy show at your own comedy club with
Would you like all of your friends to suddenly hate you? Open a comedy club.
Ew. Is this true? Is that a true thing?
No, all my friends are comedians, so it becomes a thing. I would never do that.
But you're opening a place for them to do their craft. You're welcoming them. Hi, come in and hang out.
Good for them. I'm opening a place for them to do their thing. My thing is, then you suddenly stop being a comedian, and now you're this manager, decision maker, gatekeeper. Now you're the canceller of dreams guy, and I don't want to be that guy.
Oh.
I just want to make people, Haleigh. I want to help people. I want to help them contact the dead and enjoy some brie.
Some brie and a couple of green olives. You know what? That's fair. I'm with it.
Wanted to do. I just wanted people to talk to their dead grandma and maybe have some garlic bread or what. I don't know what goes on a charcuterie.
I think it's great. The garlic keeps away the vampires while you are summoning the dead. Right. You don't want to have too many like supernatural beings coming at you at once. I understand.
You gotta come to San Diego. It's a good time here.
I'm all about opening the spooky charcuterie.
We have one of the wettest oceans in the world right now.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's one of only a handful of them. They're kind of rare, right? Like there's not a whole lot of them.
It's a big one. I think it's the biggest one. The Pacific's the biggest one, right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, and if it's not, whatever ocean is your favorite, that one will get bigger too.
Yeah, we're all going to drift apart, these states. You Californians are going to, break off and head over to hang out with Hawaii.
It's going to be basically just you guys in the Dakota in your -40 degree Haleigh, are you anywhere near Mount Rushmore? Because I know nothing of South Dakota.
I am on the opposite side of the state of Mount Rushmore. You had
Okay.
you had a 50-50 shot there. I'm very
I
sorry.
gave it a go. I did. Do you have a Mount Rushmore of presidents? No, I'm just kidding.
We do, and we have a fun crazy horse monument over there that Jonny and I got to walk up as children because my dad thought that was a great idea.
That was a previous episode rant for sure.
Yeah, that is the benefit when you grow up in the Dakotas. You spend a lot of time going to Mount Rushmore in the summer. That's what happens.
The idea of a family vacation is to drag your kids through a 5-mile hike in the woods. It's like you're being led to a camp where they're going to chop your head off and sell it for science.
in the only time of year when it is hot here. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, what a terrible idea. Oh my goodness. Well, I think East South Dakota, is that Sioux Falls? Is that like close?
Yes, that's where I'm over Sioux Falls way. Basically, I'm in Brandon, but yeah, Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
I think there's a funny bone in Sioux Falls.
There are a couple of comedy clubs in Sioux Falls. So, you and Zoltan need to like get your friends together, make a stop here in the Sioux Falls. Like, I'll put y'all up in my house. I will cook. I will make a charcuterie board on my.
How many friends do you think we have?
Just for you. Well, not that many because my house ain't that big. So.
But it's your house, and that's awesome. Yeah, I'll look at his calendar. He's whenever he's going to Sioux Falls.
That would be rockin' awesome. Y'all come out. Love to see you guys. I will fill whatever club you are in with everybody I know.
Although he's got real, by all, don't stop. But he's got real fans. He's not like me.
I'm a real fan. I'm here. I'm with it. I wanted you to come on my podcast because I'm so super excited to chat you.
How did we discover one another on the internet? Do you remember? Did I make something stupid or what happened?
I can't remember what it was, but I know that like I found you on Instagram. I don't know if it was because I was also following Zoltan, so maybe like you came up or something.
That's a real possibility, yeah.
Yeah, and like they just started commenting on your stuff because I love it. And I do love your Bob the Hero videos, being a good citizen of the world, cleaning glass up off of the sidewalk so that people don't, get themselves hurt and putting away shopping carts.
I selfishly did the glass thing just for my dogs. I don't care about anyone in the neighborhood. It's all a giant facade.
I can get behind. I can get behind that. I will absolutely make sacrifices like that for my dog and not care.
I was a big liar. I didn't care about anyone in the neighborhood. If they're rolling around in glass, if they're eating it for breakfast, it doesn't matter to Bob. What matters is my 2 dogs. And I'm like, that's it. That's all I was just playing. But the Walmart shopping cart thing, I don't want anyone to have their car dinged. It would ruin their day. And at the end of the day, actually at the beginning of the day, even at high noon, it really doesn't matter what time of day it is.
Any time of day.
All I ever wanted to do was just help people. That's all I wanted to do. Right, Odie?
Help people and love up on the dogs. I love it. A noble, you make people laugh. You put away shopping carts. You love on dogs.
I want to see the Dakotas. I want to see Utah, Montana. I want to see all these weird big cold states.
It's nice in July. It's nice in July.
I
would probably stay away. Well, I mean, just summer months. Think summer months.
I was going to say don't come here in January or February.
No February.
Unless you want to be really uncomfortable.
You might not make it. Let's be honest. Like in Fargo, there's a big storm.
That'll be that. You'll just be open. You'll just find some bobsicle in the morning on your couch. Try to put your name into everything. It's branding.
I like it. Bobsicles. You can sell bobsicles at the spooky charcuterie place. That's dessert. There's your dessert, bobsicles.
That'll teach me a lesson.
Listen, I'm telling you, this could be a great franchise. I'm gonna put it out into the universe. And
you were just talking. Oh, sorry, I get carried away.
No, I just was going to say I would love to. So on the travel note, because we do like to do stream of consciousness, follow where the thoughts go.
Yeah.
Utah's been on my mind too, because I absolutely want to go see Skinwalker Ranch. Are you a fan of the world of the weird in any way at all?
I don't know what Skinwalker Ranch is.
Bob, we need to have just like a whole education episode where I just
Yeah,
teach you all
yeah,
about all the creepy things in the world.
yeah. You seem to know more
Skin,
so.
Skinwalker Ranch. Skinwalker Ranch is like it's this property in Utah that's got a lot of like sometimes it's paranormal activity, sometimes it's UFO activity. They have go watch the series of it. Is it on Hulu or something?
Well,
There's
now wait a minute. Hold on. Now I'm confused. There's this place in Utah that constantly has either paranormal activity or extraterrestrial activity. What? Why should I believe that all the activity just magically happens in this one place?
it
Are
doesn't.
you
It's just
messing
a
with me?
place that magically has a lot of it happening that people notice. So
Huh.
I don't know
It's
what
a
the
little
situation is.
convenient that all the aliens and dead people just show up to this one spot where there's nothing else, and maybe there's
Right.
nothing to do with. I don't really know.
Maybe it's one of those like interdimensional portal situations where
Utah's pretty big, right?
people just pop in and out. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's some mineral deposits in the ground that are making things
Trying
weird.
to get to I don't know much about Utah. I know I'm trying to get to Provo, Utah. I don't know where in Utah Provo is or
Up
Provo.
north. Are you
Not
going to
sure.
ask? Don't ask us to do geography any more than you ask us to do biology correctly.
Okay,
Well,
fair enough.
I've never been to Utah. I've been to Wyoming, but never made it to Utah, so I'm not really familiar with that state, I guess.
I'm trying to film this thing for these Mormons. So there's this thing where this is where Zoltan got big. He had this a clip about cats made him went viral. He became a big cat guy
Yeah,
for
yeah.
and a whole deal. And that was from his dry bar comedy special. So there's this thing in Provo, Utah. That's why I bring it up called Dry Bar Comedy. They got their own streaming service and all this stuff.
Mhm.
And a handful of my friends have all done it and gotten these dry bar specials. So the idea, it's because these folks are Mormon, is that I mean the material is like cleaner than clean. It's like cleaner than like network TV type of clean. There's like no mentions of probably like any drugs or alcohol or this, that, and the other thing.
Yep.
And no sexual activity and the body parts and the nudity and the
In
thrusting
the
and the
body
genitals,
parts.
etc. I don't know how it happens anymore with the kids anymore, but be that
I
as it
don't
may.
listen. I don't even know what the rules are either. TikTok has like I don't look for those things even though I know they're there.
There's no
No.
way of knowing, honestly. I think there's a website with the fornicating. I don't know how it works. I'll send you a link. But either way, I'm trying to get into this thing because there's a built-in fan base. And what a great built-in fan base with the Mormons, because they could only reproduce more of them all the time in large numbers if they really like it. What job security?
I think that's
Right.
absolutely that's something you need to. Let's get Bob a dry bar comedy special
Let's not
100%.
show them that clip. And I have, first of all, let's not show the guy that clip of me saying that. But definitely that'll.
We'll hide that. Don't worry.
Yeah. Now, do you tend to work clean or do you?
I'm PG-13-ish. Like if
Okay.
you see like a Marvel movie, wait, are there language rules on this before I just
No. You can say whatever you want, man.
on this one we're probably being nicer just for the sake of you and anything you might want to share than we normally would be. Like
Right.
I was gonna say, I curse like a sailor on a regular basis.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm terrible, but no, I should have asked, and we jumped right into it. So usually I always ask. Mostly I'm professional most of the time, but
don't worry.
Way, like a Marvel movie or a DC action hero movie, it'll be like a couple of it'll be
innuendo, like,
right,
Okay.
and they'll have like one or two good shits, like that'll be their language thing. You know what I mean? It'll be that, and it'll be like, oh, like a big deal, and then you kind of move on. And I'm kind of like, I'll save them. Okay. So it's like, because I don't like, the guy, let me tell a story. I was effing work, I'm effing girlfriend, and stupid, blah, 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 blah. I like, no, I'll give you the big one when it counts. And that's a very pro wrestling mentality. Because if I hit you over the head with a chair 10 times and you get up, we both look like jackasses. But if I hit you once and you stay down and it's a good one and I sell it and you sell it, we got the story over. I look good and you got the chair bent over your head, and then we come back for a rematch. We make money. Make it mean something.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't mean anything, it's exhausting for an audience, because even if you're not an angry comedian, I'm just going to curse like crazy. But if you're like, if you're just like fucking this, fucking that, fucking blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Even if you're not saying it angrily, it's just how you talk. The audience does get tired. You get a little like, it's like it wears most people down. And I think some comics forget that, you know what? Regular human beings don't all talk like that. Like some of them are like real people. What are you doing? And
Right.
I don't want to do that. I don't want people tired out from the little microaggressions. I'd rather like beat myself up, hit one, boom, hey, and they're all behind you, and everyone goes home happy. Right, Odie?
That's a real. I do like that. That's a really great mentality.
Odie.
Hello, Odie. Oh, for a friend time.
No, Odie, he's got a little scratchy. Okay, he's got his paw. He doesn't want me to let go. I don't know if you can tell on camera. He's got his paw over my hand.
I was gonna say Odie is like, I am now making a cameo. I'm going to be here in this video.
Yeah,
I think Odie would be a great addition to the spooky charcuterie shop. You could have him walking around, picking up all the little pieces of salami that people are dropping, right?
Oh yeah, no, he's all over it. I felt. Do you have audio listeners who have no idea what we're looking at?
We have both. So audio and
dog
YouTube.
On the screen, audio people.
Audio people, go to YouTube and check out the YouTube because dogs are cute. Please and thank you.
For sure.
Now you do a little bit of you dog content, I guess I would say. Like you have your little pupcast that you kind of have a podcast you do with the dogs on Instagram with those videos that I did.
We're overdue for a new episode. I was actually thinking about that today. What can we do? I ran out of ideas. I just called it Exploit the Dogs because that's what I'm doing. Exploiting the dogs. There's a second dog, Chloe. She's an Australian sheepdog. She's now there. She's behind the camera sleeping. She hates cameras and she has very dark fur, so you'll almost never see her. She's very Oz-like. She's always behind the curtain, but she's around.
Hey, that's all right. You got to have one of those in the podcast world too. Exploit the dogs because that's you know what?
I like the dogs.
Make that content however you have to. I support it.
How long you guys been doing this bad boy? Is this no small stories? Is that what this is called? What is this called?
Where are you?
Having a stroke. Everything tastes like pennies. What is happening right now?
You're having a stroke because I have fire sign Sagittarius energy and I can't stick to just one project. So I have multiple podcasts. Yep. This one is the Jonny Haleigh Day of Fun podcast. I have the No Small Stories podcast. You're welcome to join us on the other one too.
Yeah,
because
I didn't realize they were
making all the content.
Yes, I was because I saw a clip. I think you had Mark Christopher Lawrence.
Yes.
The Small Stories one the other day, and I think that's where my wires got crossed.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's totally cool. If people get their wires crossed and find this one from the other direction, that's what we're looking for. It's the cross-pollination situation, right?
Yeah, as long as you don't cross the streams. It's 80s kids.
No, don't cross the streams. That is thank you very much for referencing one of my favorite movies.
Arguably the greatest film ever made.
With you 100%.
Arguably. You should also know a little caveat. I say arguably the greatest film ever made on Twitter and Facebook. I've done that for every movie I've seen for about 15 years. So it doesn't really carry over.
Okay, well, it's true for me when it comes to Ghostbusters. So.
When it comes to which is arguably the greatest film ever. I said that about Batman. Batman 89 for me is up there, is one of my top 3. My favorite film, the only movie I don't do that joke with, is the 1968 Planet of the Apes, which I think might be the greatest film ever made.
That is like, okay, so like your top 3 movies or top 5 then. We've got Planet of the Apes is like number 1 slot.
Yeah. And in no other, probably Batman 89. I have a few. Transformers from 86, the animated movie. Optimus Prime dying was that was a whole huge one. Gremlins 2. Just
no, Gremlins is great, and I honestly, it's kind of funny you say that. Jonny, I'm sorry I keep talking over you. I'm terrible.
You're fine, dude. Hey, I'm just here for eye candy.
You are. You're 100%. Jonny's the ginger eye candy in the house. That's.
I was gonna say in our backlog of episodes, we do have a lot of my stories because I did a lot of online dating, so I have a lot of online dating stories. So if you go back and listen, there's a lot of storytelling. And
if you want some horror stories where Jonny almost walks into where he's gonna get murdered.
But like this podcast was kind of meant just to be a shoot the shit kind of thing. You know what I mean? Just whatever we want to talk about, movies, music, whatever, really.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that. We don't always need a topic or a theme. Those tend to run dry.
I agree with that. That's why we kind of do a little stream of consciousness because, I think that We all have a little ADHD in the days of TikTok and a little.
Oh God, our brains are broken between TikTok and the phones and the 2020 initial pandemic, blah 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 blah. Yeah, we're not. We're all in trouble. Nothing makes. I got more of an idea than a human being at this stage of the game. I think. I'm like Batman. I'm like in Batman Begins, where he says he's going to be more of a symbol. I think that's what happened to me. It's always a Batman thing.
Can we like set something up where if you are more of an idea or a symbol in your mind, you no longer have to pay bills because you're not like you don't feel physical? Can we start that?
Yeah.
I don't feel like a real solid physical person anymore. So I think I don't have to contribute to society anymore as an idea.
I register. Like I don't need to pay. I want to register as just more of an idea. Like Prince started it to his credit, which is using a symbol as a name. Like he was onto something, but I don't think he got to complete his work.
Well, let's continue his work. We need to all decide to be symbols instead. I don't know how we get this like sovereign citizen, you can't tax me anymore thing that we might start.
Yeah. That was kind of the inspiration behind these purple sunglasses with Prince. He's from Minneapolis. He's close. I'm a musician. Everyone likes Prince.
It goes together. Those are your Prince shades.
For sure.
My favorite rock star is Axl Rose, easily.
Okay.
Axl Rose.
Okay. Can I ask then, how did you feel about Axl Rose when he was, rocking being the lead singer for AC/DC's tour while he's on a knee roller because his knee was messed up?
I loved it. I loved every single second of it. It's so aging rocker.
It was really pretty great.
I missed an opportunity. I was just not paying attention. I missed an opportunity to see Axl DC, as the kids would call them. I was living in New York at the time, and I could have seen him at Madison Square Garden, and I just wasn't paying attention. And suddenly one day I'm like, oh wait, that's today, and I wasn't even in the state. I'm like, how did I miss this? Just from sheer ignorance, which is a bummer. But I just saw the first and only time I've seen Guns N' Roses or seen Axl was just a few weeks ago at a big theater down here in San Diego. I saw the musical rock and roll concert with those popular Guns N' Roses fellows. They played the jingle with. And Axl's such a rock star. He's the greatest. Because sometimes, I mean, he did it in 3 hours. And sometimes in the last hour, he still sounded good enough. He sounded pretty good, but it would just go out. His voice would just go out. He just disappeared. But he's such a rock star. The second that would happen, he would go into full like spinning Axl mode with the hand.
Just get physical.
Else. Yeah, he would just be like, well, the second that he can't give them Axl in one way, he just flips on a dime and gives it to him another way. He just makes sure you don't stop getting Axl. He changed outfits like 5-6 times, probably being drenched in sweat throughout the whole thing.
That's a professional aging rocker right there. That's some good stuff.
You never felt wrong. In the same way, my second favorite band, I've seen them 3 times, is Iron Maiden. And they're all probably older than Guns N' Roses easily. They're all in their mid-60s, and they're still doing 2 hours and drenched in sweat. And there's just something about old guys sweaty and they just stop. And you just know, because in my head, the wrestler and comedian in me is thinking about after the show.
Yep.
That's both ways of like, how sore are they? How tired are they? How hungry are they? How this.
Yeah, for sure.
How Bruce Dickinson's knees feel.
Right, exactly. He's destroyed. He still sounds live. He sounds like that could be a studio recording. He sounds so good. So so I always get a kick out of that. Any aging rockers or anyone with gray hair still sweating and doing what they do is always fun for me to watch.
I say good for them, and I'm always just like happy to see someone keeping on with their true passion in life. Just up until the bitter end,
Until you see Vince Neil, and then you're kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, is he looking raw? I didn't see, but I heard he wasn't sounding or looking too good these days.
It's not. I don't know how he like. I just heard it, and it's pretty screechy alley cat kind of. It's pretty bad. It's no Axl or Bruce Dickinson. I'll tell you that.
Nah, that's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. But it's
they've had a bunch of retirement tours, though, haven't they? Like, that's one of those bands who, like, they're always having their last concert. So then I don't feel as bad. when they keep doing that 100 times, I know like the running joke is Kiss. Good God, they never stop.
No, I was absolutely just gonna say
Yep.
Kiss because the first concert I ever went to was a Kiss concert when I was 11 because my dad was rad, and I like at that time it was their last concert when I was 11 was like it was gonna be their last run, and then we went and I saw them again with my dad when I was 13 for their last concert run that they were doing with Aerosmith, and that was gonna be their last concert. So yeah.
So one of their last
good for Gene Simmons, who like makes sure that they're all making money, like rock and roll.
Selling those bobbleheads or whatever the hell.
100%.
Yeah.
So
that'll teach you.
I have a wrestling question for you. What is your favorite wrestling match? Now we've kind of had episodes on this before, and my favorite wrestling matches are either the Chamber of Horrors match in Chattanooga, Tennessee for the Halloween Havoc. Do you remember that?
91?
91 or 92. I can't remember which one it was, but it was the one with
Abdullah shakes in the chair.
Yeah.
91, yeah.
Yep, I had that on a VHS. I probably watched it 1,000 times. I love it. Because
I've never known that to be anyone's favorite match.
Oh,
I think it's great that you pulled out the year, that you knew what it was right away.
I've seen it once in my life and talk about it forever. It's that infamous.
It's an awful wrestling match, but it's definitely more about theatrics than it is wrestling. But I just loved it. I loved it.
Where they pretend to electrocute each other. Yeah, it might be a little more on the theatrical side.
Yeah, but then Hell in the Cell with Mankind and Undertaker.
Oh God, yeah.
That's probably my favorite match. Chattanooga is probably in the passenger seat, but that is the tippy top of the iceberg for me. So now, what is your favorite?
Yeah, do you have a favorite match of your favorite wrestlers?
Oh, I have. I'll give you two. WrestleMania 7, Ultimate Warrior, then Macho King Randy Savage, because I love Randy Savage, Macho Man. Then a career-ending match when I was 11, and I believe that when someone's career would be over. Because there's a half an hour of most insane drama of everyone's on the edge of their seat, constant noise, full circle. Savage loses, Warrior and wins in defeat. Because finally the whole story is complete after all these years. Elizabeth returns and throws the evil Sherry out of the ring. Savage and Liz reunite. This could have been the last time we ever saw them, and the whole thing would be all finished, rolled up into a perfect little ball. Drama all the way, and Savage physically at the top of his game. Everything was perfect about that. And this other one that gets kind of overshadowed by all the other drama that came after it. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 12 and 96, the Iron Man. What a great pure wrestling match. I love the perfect guys. They're not really cruiserweights. They're not giants. One's technical, one's high flying. They tell the story throughout the whole deal. Bret's constantly, you watch his frustration constantly grow. It's constantly going somewhere, and everyone's justified in their argument about why they would restart it at the finish, and you understand Bret's point of view, but then you want the people to have a finish. They do the overtime, and then Bret's got a point, and historically it gets better because Bret disappears for 6 months or 8 or whatever it was, 4 or 5 months. The whole thing, so everything, and of course, not later on, a year and a half later, they would have their whole blow up, and every wrestling fan knows what I'm talking about right now, the whole Montreal thing, and Bret leaves, and there's arguments, and the contract, and that overshadows. Hell, actually, even that Montreal match was really good up until the crazy finish, which the rest of that completely gets forgotten about. So, that Iron Man match is one of my personal favorites and Warrior Savage too, because Warrior Savage is always overshadowed by Hogan Savage and Hogan Warrior in the two WrestleManias. But I love Warrior Savage and Bret and Shawn. Those are two of my favorites. The story was told. The story was told correctly.
I dig it. I like it. I love the Buried Alive match with Undertaker and Mick Foley right before Undertaker took off and was gone for a period of time.
That was the last time we saw the Purple Glove.
Yes. I love that match.
I didn't know that you were that deep into the world.
It's
wrestling?
I would say probably more just from when I was younger. I like, when we were kids, that was kind of a big deal, partly because
big deal.
It was a big, like Attitude Era stuff, and like some of my favorites, were like we talk about the Hardy Boys and the tables, ladders, and chairs matches, love that stuff. But it was sort of one of those things in my house that was like forbidden, and it was like I had to sneaky watch wrestling. So there was an element. Yeah, there was an element
taboo?
of that.
Was it a violence rule or a devilish imagery rule? What was going on in South Dakota?
South Dakota, if you don't know, is a very conservative state. I grew up in a I had an interesting dichotomy. Like my mother's very religious, very conservative, and like, my parents got divorced because my dad was, again, pretty groovy Kiss fan, just wasn't working. I get it.
Oh wow, yeah.
So I got to see kind of both sides of things. So like Jonny and I, when I was hanging out, John's my stepbrother. Sorry, there's information that maybe you didn't have.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry. But so like we used to watch wrestling together a lot as kids, like when I was at my dad and his mom, so my stepmom's house. So yeah, it was kind of a bonding thing for us. I think that like that's one of the things that we got along over, and also for me, like, was one of the like, I get to watch wrestling when I go to dad's house.
Yeah,
like,
and what makes you feel better when that glass shatters before Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out? I mean, come on. No,
I was lucky. I've only seen Stone Cold live once, and I was very fortunate. It was early January 2018. It was like a 25th year, a 25th anniversary Raw something. I was in the audience, and I got to just once be. It wasn't at the Garden. It was the Barclays, the big one in Brooklyn, and I got to be in an arena anyway when the glass broke, and Austin did the thing, and he sons the McMahons, and blah blah blah, and wow. Even for an ex-wrestler and older performer and everything else, it still gets you. There's no way you don't get even in the nosebleeds. You still didn't get lost in the moment. Sometimes it's easy to be up too high and just kind of sit down. And you just kind of watch like it's like almost not like you're watching TV, more or less, just with strangers.
Just with strangers.
Much, yeah.
And like, without your own bathroom.
It's like what if weirdos were sitting elbow to elbow with me on my couch? Like, is that what are we doing?
And then we had to,
the bathroom's too far away. And what if the beer in my fridge wasn't free, but it was $18 or whatever? This is nice. Why did I come to this? So, but either way, but when the glass broke, you were like, doesn't matter. We are all in the front row right now.
Right.
That is so fun. That's like the environment of that sort of live experience, I think that's a big part of it, right? Like, and that's,
I love it. I love getting to every live thing like early and just waiting. More so wrestling than comedy, I guess, but just watching people slowly come in. The first set of lights go down, people all start cheering, but they're jumping the gun, and I love laughing at that. And then like the first time you see a referee walk down, the two commentators sit down. That's a big deal. When a ring announcer comes in, all these little things that start, and then these little countdowns, and now they bombard you with commercials if you're there live. But the same reason I go to a movie. Like I don't just watch the trailers if I can. I'll get there early enough. I'll watch movie trivia with Maria Menounos. And,
you don't want to miss a moment, right? Like
I don't want to miss a moment of Maria Menounos asking me if Tom Cruise does his own stunts and how many he does. And then I see the trailers, and I eventually want to miss some of those moments because they get longer every year. And I'm like, this is a full half hour of thank you. I don't think I'm going to go any further into how many Puss in Boots films we need to make, or I need to be observing. But then we get to the Coca-Cola thing with them. I'm just going to go way too deep. The AMC movie Coca-Cola thing, and then there's Nicole Kidman. I like to pronounce it that way. There's Nicole Kidman, popular actress. Popular actress Nicole Kidman is sipping there, and she's got a Coca-Cola, and it's facing the right way, which I don't drink. Usually I drink a wild cherry Pepsi Zero, which tastes just like regular wild cherry, none of the sugar, none of the calories. You go to PepsiCola.com/0/backslash wild cherry, enter promo code Bob Squad, nothing happens. It's why we waste time.
Let's change that. Pepsi, can we please sponsor Bob Squad?
Can we get that?
How do we set that up?
And then we get Nicole Kidman says something. There's a narration that she's already doing, what the last word of the narration. She looks at the camera and says it's something about dreams and being alive or some crap. And then there's Michael Bay's Transformers garbage, and then we have a great time.
And that's what Coke does is just it makes you feel good about nothing making sense. And isn't that all we're looking for in this life anymore?
We're just looking to stop making sense. I think ultimately this is the Pepsi commercial I want to be in. I want to be in a nostalgic retro Pepsi commercial where I'm at a gas station in a white tank top and jeans, and I go to the Pepsi machine. And you already know where I'm going, Johnny. And I take out my Pepsi and I drink it. And off to the side in this dirty gas station in the middle of nowhere is Cindy Crawford now, and she does the thing with the shades where she just pulls them down. And what line does the kid say? Does it just go like "whoa" or something like that? I forget what it was.
What do the kids say? Don't ask me. I don't know.
Like that.
I don't know. Whatever line that the kid says in the old commercial, the "Just One Look" song, the "Just One Look" something. I don't want to mess up your YouTube copyright like that.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
I think we'll be safe on that.
It'll be fine.
And do the thing, and Cindy Crawford, and there's me. Then I spill it on myself, of course, whatever the hell. And then there it is, and Diet Wild Cherry Pepsi Zero, drink it, whatever. And I drive off in a 2011 Toyota Venza, and there's the Pepsi commercial, and everyone makes $1 million, which is not a lot of money.
I would see that, and I'd be like, God damn it, Bob! Now I want a Pepsi.
Now I want a Pepsi. Yeah. I want a Pepsi, and I want the sequel commercial where you and Cindy Crawford have now you're happily married, living in a cute little house, and you're drinking your Pepsi as you're mowing the front lawn, and with the white.
She's really going to live in a cute little house at this stage of the game in her life.
It doesn't have to make sense. Soda World doesn't have to make sense. It just has to sell. It just has to sell soda. That's all you need.
You called it the Soda World. I gotta use that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that it doesn't. Nothing has to make sense in Soda World.
No, it doesn't.
It does not. I love it. Well, listen, we do want to be respectful of your time and let you. I know you've got belly rubs to give those dogs. I don't want to interrupt that. I know it. But listen, I have so enjoyed having you. I would love to have you back again sometime if you want to hang out. I would love to have you on the No Small Stories podcast also. If you know what, I'm down to just send you a Zoom link and be like, Bob, just join us, and you don't have to know what it's for.
What happens with the small stories? Do they have? So there's no small stories.
There's no small stories. They're all just that everybody's story is a big deal because I think that that's true. I don't care who you are. You can be at the top of the A-list, or you could be little tiny me in South Dakota. Everybody's story is a big deal.
I love learning about places that are not Southern California or New York City. Like, that's why I like traveling when I make excuses I can to travel to follow Zoltan when I can afford it, and be like, let's go to wherever. I want to see what you're doing. But
come to Sioux Falls, hang out. I will make some Nifla soup for y'all. You'll love it.
What is that?
It's a Dakota thing. It's like a creamy dumpling soup that with like sausage. It's a food that you will eat and then need a nap, is what it is.
It keeps you warm in the 40 below winter.
Yes.
Okay, good deal.
Your cardiologist will not appreciate it.
No.
But it's delicious.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
I was gonna ask you one quick question. Sorry, Haleigh, you were gonna cut it out there.
Rock and roll.
Are you familiar with Rock and Roll Buck Zumhofe?
Oh, I know the name. I know he's an old wrestler and
he used to have a big ghetto blaster on his shoulders.
Did he have the long, like the bleach blonde hair with like a brown beard, kind of like it looked really awful?
Yeah, he looked a lot. He represented where he was from by the way he looked a lot. It was like blonde cutoff hair, like he was in, ABBA. And then just he would wear like silver suits and have just a ghetto blaster, and his name was Rock and Roll Buck Zumhofe.
I want to change my Twitter name to Rock and Roll Bob Hansen right after this.
You absolutely should.
I will.
But he was arrested and he had a court date recently. So that's the grim part of the story.
I can't believe that a guy named Rock and Roll Buck Zumhofe would eventually have trouble with the law.
Right.
It's not the thing that you imagine with a name like that, is it? No, he should be running for public office right alongside Kane.
Right. But if you want to laugh, go read the court docket, because it plays out just like a wrestling match. Like the judge read the verdict, and then he was trying to run out of the courtroom and tackled by a bailiff. Yeah. Tell me that's not a wrestling match.
Where did he think he was going after that? What was that plan once he got past it? Like, they're going to let this go. Once I'm off the property, they can't chase me.
It was fantastic.
Maybe there was some kind of a future promo in his head that he was like, I'm going to use this one day. This is going to be something great.
He didn't have much of a future ahead of him.
Poor Rock and Roll bucks him off.
Yeah, I was going to say, bar clinking together bucks him off.
That's a shame.
But, listen.
The buck stopped there.
I was going to say.
Yes. Nailed it.
Nailed it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. And I do want to, so if you want to plug whatever is going on with you or coming up, and definitely we'll share all of your links to all of your stuff.
Thank you.
In the description.
Instagram's good because I have one of those in my bios in my Instagram. It's like a popular social media platform for sharing photos and videos and stories and things. You're familiar.
I think I've heard of it.
You've been there once or twice.
I think I've been in that particular virtual establishment. I believe
the pool.
I have.
Because I have one of those link tree things. So all the links to the shows and the tickets and this, that, and the other thing. Mostly, if you're in San Diego or Southern California, you can, that makes it easier. There'll be a few outliers as well and all that good stuff. So
and you can join the Bob Squad by getting a Bob Squad T-shirt.
You can get the shirt. You don't have to get a T-shirt to join the Bob Squad, but I won't object. That's in a link tree as well. And I'll tell you something, Haleigh and Jonny, about the Bob Squad. It's not what we do. It's what we don't do. And what we don't do is stop rocking.
I love it. Never stop rocking, Daddy. Bob Hansen, commander of the Bob Squad. So very happy to have had you. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Haleigh, Jonny.
It was great.
Awesome.
I've been Haleigh.
And I've been Jonny.
And that's been Bob Hansen of the Bob Squad. And this has been Jonny,
Haleigh,
Bob, Day of Fun. Thanks, y'all, for listening. Appreciate you.